Welcome to Evergreen House, a house with history spanning from the Confederation of Canada. The house is located on Newcastle Street in Dartmouth, situated between Alderney and Southdale with a view of the Dartmouth Cove. The Evergreen gives you a personal look of life before Dartmouth became a city. Open hours may vary during different times of the season, so be sure to check our website to know when you can come visit us. Evergreen House was completed in 1867 after lawyer and later judge Alexander James commissioned famed local architect Henry Elliott with the project. But good things don't begin without tragedy. Alexander James and his wife Harriet Hawthorne lost 8 of their 11 children to disease, and they moved to Dartmouth to get out of the unsanitary conditions of downtown. Halifax had a long stretch of epidemics due to the city's dense residential conditions. But at that time, Dartmouth was still considered a rural community. Over the years since its completion, the Evergreen House has picked up its share of famous figures and stories to be known. So why don't we go inside and take a look at the Red Parlour? Easily the most elegant of all the rooms, this parlor details the lives of a Victorian Dartmouth living space, with details on the lives of the remaining James children and artifacts from the era preserved. The Green Parlour takes a look at the house's architecture after the James family left and views examples from the museum's fine art collection. The Evergreen House was later home to nationally acclaimed Nova Scotia folklorist Dr. Helen Crichton. In 1928, Helen began collecting folklore of the Maritime provinces and would enjoy a career that brought her international recognition and earned her the title Canada's First Lady of Folklore. She had written many books about the things she collected over the years, the best known being Blue Nose Ghosts, that continues to be a Canadian bestseller. She collected many stories, beliefs, superstitions, cures, folkways, and even songs, like Farewell to Nova Scotia.
Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains dark and dreary be.
Helen Crichton sold the Evergreen House to the City of Dartmouth in 1978, who purchased it with support of the Nova Scotia Museum. Joseph Howe was a champion of the Nova Scotia citizen, working tirelessly to guarantee freedom of the press and representation in a responsible government. Though Howe was Haligonian by birth, he lived in Dartmouth between 1863 and 1873, corresponding with some of the most important events of his life, including his battle against Nova Scotia's entry in Confederation. While living in Dartmouth, Howe made frequent visits to his friend Alexander James at Evergreen House. Although it's called the Halifax Explosion, the 6,000 residents of Dartmouth experienced it as well. But there was one thing that remained consistent: the running of ferries. The ferry was making a crossing when the explosion occurred and continued despite being heavily damaged by the blast and facing the subsequent tidal wave. The ferry was a critical link between the two cities during the relief and recovery efforts. Come explore more on the history of Dartmouth at Evergreen House, and make sure you check out our other video about the Quaker House. We hope to see you soon.